Bonjour, hello. We're meeting today for a quick mini course to troubleshoot a common mistake I hear when people learn French. They always confuse the future and the conditional, and they never remember what are the endings of the future simple. I will tell you in today's video, and you will see that French is like a game. French grammar is like a game. It can be fun and exciting and feel like a game, and you will never get bored when you learn grammar this way. It's more fun, more durable, and it's very logical. And I will give you an example today of this logic of the French grammar. If you enjoy this approach to learn French grammar, subscribe and hit the notification button below to be informed whenever I release a video, and sign up to my newsletter. You can also contact me for private coaching and group coaching if you want to take your French to the next level and progress faster. So let's dive in how not to confuse the future and the conditional ever again. I will give you a foolproof trick today. I will share my screen with some visuals to help you. So there we are. Future, if you don't remember what are futur simple and futur proche, or the future with aller, I invite you to check the links above that will bring you to my other videos about the future. There are two videos, one about futur simple and one about futur proche. They are both handy if you want to get the most of today's video. So let's assume you've watched those two videos. Today, we'll start with looking at futur simple and the endings, how we construct futur simple. So, je trouverai, j'habiterai, j'attendrai, je prendrai, tu feras, on parlera, il se présentera, nous verrons, vous verrez, ils ou elles penseront, etc. And we'll see that you can see that the base of the verb is the infinitive for ER verbs, trouver, or the infinitive with then you take out the last E, like in attendre, permettre. You just take off the E and add the ending of the future to make it the future tense. There are a few irregular verbs like avoir, or, ser, that's for verb être, ir, that's for aller, viendre is for venir, etc. You have 16 or 18 verbs that you have to learn because the base changes quite a bit from the infinitive. But that's all you need to learn, and everything else you can just guess and reconstruct if you apply the method I'm giving you in this video. All right, so there's one very important aspect in the future I want you to keep in mind. There's always the sound R. So imagine a cat purring. That's associated to the future and the conditional. It's common to both the futur simple and the conditional. So just remember that the endings for the future and conditional include R, R, re, ra, ra, ron, re, ron. That could be what the cat is purring. If you want to learn that with a little song, you can kind of purr it yourself. Re, ra, ra, ron, re, ron. So try to have fun with that and make it stick, and then you will be grateful forever that you will always remember the future. My next tip for today, and that's very powerful. So remember that our stem includes the r, but the problem often is to remember what comes after, because futur and conditionnel are so similar at the beginning. So today I'm giving you a tip to remember what is the ending of the future. And if you like those videos, remember to hit subscribe and the notification button. All right, so futur proche. So let's look at futur proche and futur simple. That's the powerful aspect of this mnemonic trick. So futur proche is the one that is conjugated with aller. If you want to say trouver in futur proche or futur with aller, it's going to be like je vais trouver, tu vas trouver, on va trouver, nous allons trouver, vous allez trouver, ils vont trouver. And that il at the bottom is a combination of both il and elle in the plural, because I wanted to show the two pronouns, and that's a new way of writing it in French. So notice those blue letters that are sticking out. Those are important sounds, because you will see that e, a, on, et on, then it rhymes with the future simple. So if you know that futur proche and to conjugate aller in the present, you just transfer those sounds to the ending of the verb you want to conjugate in the future. So aller is one of the main verbs we learn very early on in our French learning journey. So by now you should know this verb, and if you don't know it yet, I would recommend you to practice a lot until you nail it and you're able to just conjugate aller just like that. And that will make it easier to conjugate the future because you have that familiar structure you have in aller that you stick at the end of the verb. Very easy. Je trouverai, tu trouveras, on trouvera, nous trouverons, vous trouverez, et elles trouveront. And okay, some people don't like aller because I know it's confusing. It changes the consonants, the shape and all that. So I'm going to give you a second verb that you can use that also rhymes with the future simple. And it's avoir. Avoir in the present. J'ai, tu as, on a, nous avons, vous avez, elles ont. So notice those blue letters, those sounds are the same as the future simple. It's even better because j'ai is just AI and je trouverai is just AI. There's no S with the je in the future. So it's even better. But if you want a connection between the two types of future proche, future simple, then aller is a natural connection. All right. Pause the video, let it sink in. If you need to have a closer look, press pause and go over it again. Write it down in your notebook. Just looking at the screen will not make you remember that rule. So I would strongly advise you to make a note, put what I explained in your own words, just like if you were going to teach a 5-year-old how to conjugate in the future in French. So be active with that language, be active with the grammar, and then you will, it will take 5 minutes of your time and then you will remember it forever. So that's a good investment of your time, right? Instead of learning endless verb tables, I think that's a good choice. And finally, one last thing, I wanted to connect futur proche and futur simple to the English because it works pretty much in the same way. There are exceptions, but mostly you'll find a connection between the two. I am is are, going to find, gonna find. We see that going in English and aller in French, that's the common element that we find in both languages. So that's very easy to apply. And if you know the conjugation of aller, futur simple, futur proche is very easy. And then where I wanted to highlight something else is in that futur simple, because I know most of the time beginners in English, they want to translate that will and they get stuck because they don't know how to translate that will in French and they get stuck and they panic and then you lose everything. So just calm down, take a deep breath. And you see, I put the will in blue because if you think about it that way, in English, you have the will that comes before the verb. In French, when you come to that will, you just hold it at the back of your mind and then you say the verb, so find, trouver, and then you go and get that ending of the future that will translate the will. To put it in a different way, in French, that will part comes at the end of the verb and is conjugated differently for each pronoun. All right, so I don't know if that last part makes sense about the will going to the end of the French verb as an verb ending conjugated for each pronoun, but I hope it makes sense and I hope it helps you be curious about the French grammar and trying to find your own mnemonics and your own little tricks to find a story around a tense or a conjugation and when to use it and connections with what you already know or irregularities you notice and that will make it memorable. Anything that will help you relate to what you're learning will make it stick in your head better. And then it's just a matter of practicing. For example, all those irregular verbs that you can see in my other videos, practice those a lot. Write your own sentences, write what you will do, will see, and etc. tomorrow, next year, etc. Have a lot of practice, and then eventually things will become automated and you will be more confident when you speak and you don't have to think about those conjugations. So once again, if you enjoy those videos, please share them with your friends and colleagues, etc., because it really helps to bring a different approach of grammar to more people, because often at school, people get confused And it's just a matter of finding the right key. And the more you share what was helpful for you, maybe the more people you can help. So hit the subscribe button, the notification bell, and join me on the newsletter to receive more tips. There's also a podcast if you want to improve your listening skills and develop your vocabulary at the intermediate or advanced level. Ciao, ciao.